Hello everyone, welcome to Cradix Tech. This is Shubham and today we are going to look at the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip, which is a cute Samsung's offering of a folding phone. Today I'm going to look this as a phone first and then as a folding phone, and I'm also going to compare this with the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. I've been using this for 2.5 months now, so let's see how this phone stacks up today. And let's get this video started, shall we? Let's start with the hardware and design of this phone. This is aluminum design and Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on the outside and plastic in the inner screen. Bezel on the outer screen is considerably more than the inner screen with just a small punch hole cutout inside. Both the buttons on here have a tactile feel. Also, the power button acts as a fingerprint sensor and it's really fast and accurate. But the only issue with this is the placement of the button are too high. But it also makes it a two-hand phone to open up. And I must say the hinge has been improved since the Samsung Galaxy Flip 5. Since I have bought this phone more than 2 months back, there is a small scratch on the back of it. I'm not sure if you are able to see this in the video or not, but there are no scratches on the outer or the inner screen. This phone is also IP48 water and dust resistant, but I'm not gonna test that one. So this phone feels really great in the hand. But as I said, you can't open this up with just one hand, which makes this a two-hand phone. That's only if you want to open up the phone. The outer screen on this phone is pretty much great for doing anything on your phone right now. Talking about the outer screen, both the screens are in different PPI. Outer screen is at 306 and inner screen is at 426 PPI. I'm not going to talk about the display specs as every display is almost pretty much sharp for the human eyes these days. But here are some specs if you want to pause this video real quick. But I do care about the max brightness as it is similar to the S24 Ultra. The outer screen on this one is a 60Hz panel compared to the 120Hz found on the inner screen. But then you can also see the crease when it's off axis, which is distracting, but it's not that prominent while using it day to day. The inner 6.7-inch screen is a normal form factor of every phone, which is almost as tall as the S24 Ultra, but much slimmer. The outer screen got me excited as I was doing everything a lot more on it. Let's say the always on display, more glanceable information on the second page, widgets, and easy access to all your favorite apps. This is a must-have for all the folding phones. The hardware on this phone can go as much as the software on it, right? The software on this so far has been great, and it's currently running on One UI 6.1.1. And Samsung has promised a whopping 7 years of OS software update on this phone, which I must say kudos to Samsung for doing that, and also match with the Pixel. This is a fun phone to use considering the feature set that it has. We also have two new features on this phone that are Sketch to Image and Smart Select. Sketch to Image is where you can create an AI generated image. Great feature if you want to generate something very quickly. Now please don't judge my drawing here. And the outputs coming up on this one are pretty good as well. And you can select different kind of styles to generate the photos. Smart Select is also a good option if you want to select small portions on your screen where it just snaps to the objects that you're tapping on the screen. Also in 6.1.1 there is an option to set the bottom of the screen for a trackpad. I have just used this feature once where I had to search for a certain photo in Google Photos, but this is a great folding phone feature which might be useful for you. And you can see you can change the brightness, volumes, and much more things from here. You can even split screen and also take a screenshot on this one and pull down the notification panel, which are pretty useful things. Across all the AI features, the one that stand out are Interpreter, which didn't actually work the first time I turned it on, but I must say it is gratefully useful if you travel a lot abroad. Call Assist is one good option as well. if you get a lot of scam calls. You can just block them accordingly. Or let's say if you're in an office and you can't pick up the call, you can use this call assist feature where it just live transcripts the other person and you can be able to read that out. Also, there is a transcript assist where it will write down what's recorded on the phone. I must say this works pretty well, and I have used this before in the Pixel phones as well. These are the AI features that I sometimes use, but the most features that I use are on the outer screen of this phone, like always on and some glanceable information outside, where you don't have to open up the phone just to check the weather or even set up an alarm, where one app might just lead to an endless scrolling for an hour on YouTube or Instagram. Coming to the performance on this phone, and it has a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 with 12 GB of RAM and 256 GB of UFS 4.0 storage, which is similar to the S24 Ultra. I haven't had any slowdowns or bugs on this phone since I have got it. And this phone also supports tests, provided that you have activated the developer mode. Benchmark app doesn't mean a lot these days, but still let's compare this with the S24 Ultra and the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. Comparing the Geekbench scores, I'm not sure why the S24 Ultra is scoring more here, but it might be the case of just some technical error, or the S24 Ultra has the better heat dissipation chamber. The scores are 12.5% lower on the Flip 6, and comparing with the S10 Plus, the Flip 6 is 50% higher. What do you think of the scores being 50% higher after 5 years now? Comparing the 3D Bench for GPU performance, the trend continues in the 3D Bench as well, where the scores are 27.7% lower, and it might be true that the S24 Ultra handles the heat better for the sustained performance. The S10 Plus is 59% slower than the Flip 6, which is a good improvement over the years. Running even the most intensive games on this phone has no effort on the performance, but this phone does heat up on the top section. You can see it's running at 38 to 39 degrees, which is a bit alarming, but nothing to worry about as it cools down quite easily. Also, the speaker on this phone is great for this size. Let's have a comparison. Call, mic and network quality on this phone is pretty great, and needless to say, you can disconnect the call just by closing the phone, which is oddly satisfying. Now coming to the battery section of this phone, this comes with 4000 mAh battery, which compared with the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 5 had 3700 mAh, and combining that with the power efficient chip, this gives me around 4.5 to 5 hours of screen on time, and my battery usually lasts me an entire day. This also supports 25 watts of wired charging, 15 watts of wireless and 4.5 watts of reverse wireless charging, which is pretty low compared to other standards going on at the moment. And surprisingly, this charging speeds were the same that were found on the 5-year-old phone, that's the S10 Plus. And then 100% will take up to 1 hour and 15 minutes to completely charge this from 0 to 100. Nothing extraordinary in the battery life, and it will be enough for a single day's worth of use. Now finally coming to the camera section on this phone, this only has 2 cameras at the back. And you can see it's wide and ultra wide, and also has one selfie camera at the front. The main is 50 megapixel camera, which produces good quality image. This also can be the best selfie camera on the market, as this is basically the back camera, and you can even use the better 12 megapixel ultra wide for selfies. This phone also produces 12 megapixel photos by default. If you want to select the 50 megapixel photos, the HDR effect and the processing on this one isn't as same as the 12 megapixel still. You can see that the photos it takes are really good, and also it maintains the highlight pretty well. The night shots on the other hand aren't anything to boast over, and the photos that this camera takes are better to average. This phone also comes with all Samsung features, so you can make use of all features found on here. Let's compare some photos with the S24 Ultra and the S10 Plus. Starting with the photos, you can't actually make out which ones are which. You can judge the photos by yourself, and I will reveal the phone at the end. Let me know if you got some of these right in the comments below. But to sum things up, this definitely takes better photos than the S10 Plus, but falls behind a bit less than the S24 Ultra, which is to be expected due to the Ultra name in it. The main camera isn't as good as S24's, but the ultra wide has a better field of view, and I would definitely prefer this over the other two. Now coming to the videos on this phone, and it can record up to 4K at 60 FPS. 8K option isn't available on this one, but just like the S24 Ultra, it takes more amazing videos during the day. At night, it does struggle keeping up the objects in focus and also flickers while recording the video. But it's not gonna blow anyone's mind, and it will definitely get the job done. Especially if you're considering this video and photos for the selfie camera, which I think is the best in the market right now. So this has a 10 megapixel selfie camera at the front, which is average at the most. As you can see, the highlights are blown out. But this is alright for taking video calls and something similar to that. But I won't be using it for anything else beside that. I wish if it had the S24 Ultra's camera, it would have been the best folding phone out there. Now, finally coming to the conclusion of this phone, it was a refreshing and a fun experience to use after all of the glass slab phones that I have been using for so many years now. And it feels like you're using two phones at the same time, or let's say a phone and a watch together, which I must say is a big feature to have. For $1,800 AUD price, this phone actually comes with a great display, Samsung's own folding phone software, which can be supercharged if you install Good Lock. Also, it has a better hinge, better back selfie camera, and top of the range performance on this phone, all of which are great positives for a phone. But the price for this phone went up from $1,650 to $1,800, which is a $150 price rise, making it more expensive than the Samsung Galaxy Flip 5. For the increased price though, this provides a added IP48 water rating and also improves the hinge on this model, which is a really important factor considering a flip phone, as 3 of my family and friends had the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3 and all 3 of those had same display issues happening last month for all 3 of these phones, which is concerning and a horrible track record for Samsung. But hey, if you want a folding phone and a small form factor, this is the way to go. That's been it for this video today. Thanks for watching guys. Have a good day and I'll see you later. Chole.